Today we will be looking at in-course corrections that may need to be implemented during my course on writing individualized learning targets for math. This course is designed to be used with my 4th and 5th grade students who attend an online hybrid school. This course is actually tying directly to my professional growth objectives this year, which involves making my students more aware of their own learning by not only self-evaluating based on learning targets that I create, but being able to create their own learning targets that fit their individual needs. This mid-course evaluation would likely be presented to my principal, as she's the one that I meet with concerning my progress towards meeting my professional growth goals. In this mock scenario, I have just completed my mid-course evaluation. By looking at metrics from the course, including student work and related performance, I noticed that 2 of my 19 students are missing a number of assignments, and that those that are turned in are not of the same quality as the other students. They're both missing some major connections that the other students have made by this point. Not only are they not doing well, they've also not sought out any help. My course evaluation will be guided by Chickering and Gamson's 7 Principles for Good Practice. These principles were originally designed in 1999 by Arthur Chickering and Zelda Gamson for use with undergraduate students in online learning courses. Due to the young age of my students, there are things that will need to be adjusted to make the application age appropriate. Chickering and Gamson's 7 Principles for Good Practice include encouraging student-faculty contact, encouraging cooperation among students, encouraging active learning, giving prompt feedback, emphasizing time on task, communicating high expectations, and respecting diverse talents and ways of learning. In my scenario, my struggling students have not reached out to communicate their needs for help. Unfortunately, in upper elementary, students haven't always developed these communication skills quite yet. For this reason, Chickering and Gamson's first principle does need to be altered a bit for my scenario. I work very closely in a partnership with parents in order to provide the best education possible for students, as they are only on campus 2 days a week and working from home in online classes with their parent learning coach the other 3. Thus, I will be communicating with both students and parents, as well as providing materials to parents to allow them to support their children from home. This will be done through email as well as on-campus and virtual meetings. Through that communication, I will provide supports for my struggling students. I will encourage active learning by activating prior learning, using forms and graphic organizers to help students break down the task into smaller pieces. Allow my students one-on-one time to talk about their learning as well as its application to real life. Throughout this process, we will also involve learning coaches to be able to help with standard selection and learning target creation from home. I will be sure to provide very prompt feedback concerning the selection of standards, creation of learning targets, progress, and their time on task, which we will get to in a minute. Through this process, I will be sure to praise successes in order to increase motivation and kindly correct any challenges along the way. Chickering and Gamson also emphasized the idea of time on task. By pointing out to my students how they use their time, I hope to increase the effectiveness of it. Students will assess the amount of time they are spending choosing their standards and creating their learning objectives. I will be able to provide them with data to support the amount of time they are actually working towards meeting these goals. This is something that is important now as students, but so much more important when it comes time for them to join the working world. Fortunately, the foundation of this unit looks at respecting the diverse needs and talents of each learner. Thus, they are creating individualized learning targets based on the standards that they need to learn. Moving forward in this unit, I will keep an extra close eye on the students who have been identified as struggling. I will keep in close communication with both students and parents. about their progress towards identifying their own standards, writing learning targets, and meeting those learning targets. We will begin with an extra scaffolded process, and eventually, hopefully, we can release that a little bit to allow students more freedom to do it on their own. I will ensure that I break down tasks into smaller ones as to not overwhelm the students and to allow more opportunities for success. And finally, each of those little successes will be celebrated in order to grow the students' internal motivation.